Okay, so previously I did a video on how to make objects spin, and we had a bunch of different objects. One of them happened to be this fan, and someone who watched the video asked if I could go into more detail about how to change the speed of the fan or speed of any spinning object. So that's what I'm going to do here in this video. Now, this fan blade here, what I've done is I've colored one of them red so that you can watch it as it turns to keep track of how quickly it's turning. If you look over here, you'll see that we have the spin it action that we created in that other video. And once again, all you have to do to get the fan blades to spin is to take that action that we created in the last video and just drag it onto the fan blades. And as soon as I drop it, you'll see that the fan blades turn. That confirms that the action has been applied to the item, to the object. Now, this particular action is 100 frames. And if you watch the red fan blade, you'll see that at 25, it's gone 90 degrees. At 50, it's gone 180 degrees. At 75, it's at 270 degrees. And at 100, it's almost back all the way around because we did it at 359 degrees for the fan blade. And I explained that that's, if you don't do it at 359.9, the fan blade will actually go in the opposite direction all the way back around to the beginning. So it's important that the last frame was 359.9. So now let's get to the subject of why we're doing this. I'm going to show you how to speed up the fan or how to slow down the fan. And that's very easy to do. So when you click here, you're going to notice that these buttons here became active. So there's two buttons in here. One of them is called loop and the other one is called speed. So we're going to deal with both in this video. But if you want to change the speed of something and it's going to be happening over a period of time, you want to do the speed first and then do the replicating or the looping after. So since we're clicked here and this is active, it turns orange. Take your mouse and you bring it here to the end of the action, and you're going to see it becomes a double arrow. So that tells me I can either drag it to the left or I can drag it to the right. So dragging to the left will increase the speed that the blades are turning. And that's because right now, one revolution, it takes 100 frames. But if I drag this back as far as it'll go, and in this case, it's 25 frames, it has to do the same one revolution in 25 frames that it's doing right now in 100 frames, which means it has to spin faster. So let's just play this so you can see the speed that it's happening at. I'm just going to put a little stop here at the end so it doesn't go any further. And let's play it. And you'll see over the 100 frames, it turned one time. And since we have the looping action on here, it just keeps going around. But it takes 100 frames for it to turn. So now we're going to stop that. I'm going to put it back to the beginning. Let's get that out of the way. And now we're going to, since we're clicked on the speed button, I'm going to take this and I'm going to drag it to the left. And it goes down to 25. And now you're going to see that it's going to turn much faster than it did before. But in order to show you that, I'm going to drag it out a little bit so that now it has to do 4 turns in the 100 frames as opposed to 1 turn. So let's click on the play button and you're going to see it's much faster than it was before. You can watch the red fan blade going around. You'll see it's turning much faster. Okay, so we're going to stop that. And we're going to undo that. So we're going to put it back to the way it was. And I'll show you that. You can see it's back again to 1 revolution for the 100 frames. And we're going to just turn this off for now. So now, if we want to speed up the slow down the fan blades, it's the same idea. But this time we're going to drag it to the right. So we're going to click on the speed arrow and on the speed one again. So click on this, click on the speed, and now you're going to see it turns double arrow again. We're going to drag it out, and we're going to really exaggerate this. So let's go out to 300 frames, let's say. So now it's going to be about 1/3 of the speed that it was at before, because we were doing it over 100 frames. Now we're going to do it over 300 frames, which should drastically slow down the turning of the blades. So we're going to put a stop here. We're going to go back to the beginning. And now we're going to, when we start, you're going to see the fan blades are turning much slower. And now it takes 300 frames to do what it was doing before in 100 frames. So that's how you slow down the fan. And you can use that to simulate slow motion if you wanted to. So now let's go back to the beginning. And we're going to do one more thing. Let's undo what we did before. Okay, so let's say you wanted the fan blades to start off slow, but then to speed up. How would you do that? So now we want to change the speed so that it's starting off slow and getting faster. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one here and I'm going to make sure my speed button's checked off, and I'm going to stretch it out. So let's say I go to 200. I'm going to reduce the speed by half of what the original was. Okay, so now if you want to slow it down more, what you have to do is you have to bring in the action again. So let's bring in the action one more time. And we're going to put that right up against, we're going to butt it up against this one. And this one here, I'm going to leave it at the 100. So it goes and it stays at what we had it at originally. Now I'm going to bring in one more. Put that up against there. But this one here, I'm going to increase the speed. So I'm going to go down by about half. Okay, and now this one here, I want to keep it at this speed once it gets revved up and it gets turning. So I'm going to do the plus, and I'm going to click here, like so. And I'm going to stretch out a little bit further so we can see the effect. Now, the reason why I brought in 3 different spinets is because if you bring in one and then you just stretch it out, when you make changes to the speed later on, it's going to affect the whole action line. So that's why you need to bring in 3 separate ones. If you want to have, like, I have 3 different phases of speed, so I brought it in 3 times. The first one, it's going slowly. Then in the middle, it speeds up. And then at the end, it's going as fast as I wanted it to go. So I'm just going to put a stop here at the end so that it will loop back around. I'm going to put it there. I'm going to turn on the looping. We're going to go back to the beginning, and I'm going to click on go. So you can see here, the fan blades are turning slowly. Now over here, it gets a little faster. And then over here, it's at the full speed that I put it at. I could have made this go faster as well by shrinking the timeline down even further. But I think you can see the point. There's definitely a change in speed. And if you follow the red blade around, you'll see that now it's moving a little bit faster. And now when it hits the last one, it starts moving a lot faster. And it's as simple as that. Bring in the object that you want to make spin. Apply your action to it. Stretch the action to the right or to the left, depending on if you want it to get faster or slower. And if you want to have different speeds as you go along, you can just drag in your action again and apply whatever speed you want to that. So that's how simple it is. I hope this was helpful. And don't forget to like and subscribe. It really inspires me to keep making these videos.